And we are live. What's going on, guys? Happy freaking Saturday. This is awesome. We've got an amazing freaking guest with us. You guys probably know him best as SuperMario. I think Chris, are we like a Luigi and like Wario or something like that? Or are we both sharing the Luigi thing today, or how does that work?
Good to see you, Mario. It's glad to have you, man. I know I'm super stoked about this episode as well, because all the value you provide during the week, we hear literally a lot of people from the Creative Finance Group, even sub-2 members, saying that you provided so much value. And you're just taking the time out of your day, especially during those times, to have those quality conversations with those individuals. So we definitely appreciate that. And thank you for being on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. Praise God. I love both of you. I admire both of you. So it's super cool to be part of this accountability call, and anything I could ever do to help the two of you, count on me, because I'm all in.
Appreciate
awesome.
it,
I love it, brother. Well, if you guys don't know, so Chris, just real quick, just because it's easier to tell you than it is to go back into the chat. Are you guys in the Zoom link as well? Because everybody in Zoom cannot hear you or Mario. Just FYI.
No.
Yeah.
If you want, I muted everybody else. If you can unmute. Anyway,
Yeah.
Sorry guys, we got some technical difficulties. We're doing something a little bit different today, so I appreciate everybody bearing with us. But if you guys don't know Mario is a freaking killer when it comes to real estate. He does he's got accountability Zooms every Monday through Friday. If you guys have questions and things that you're wanting to know about this elephant challenge, if you guys want to know how to comp, how to talk to realtors, how to negotiate, what the sales process actually looks like, you guys need to be getting in the Zooms with Mario. They're Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern time. And Chris, can we post the Zoom link on there for everybody so they can jump in?
Absolutely.
I mean, we're doing this every Saturday. Mario is doing this Monday through Friday. If you guys feel stuck, if you guys are lacking clarity and direction and action steps, if you guys have any questions throughout the week, there's no reason for you to be stagnant and waiting until Pace does his Zooms or you get more information. Go in there, take action, and jump in and talk to Mario. Mario's doing this every freaking day of the week, Monday through Friday.
If I can just jump in, next week we're going to start Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is going to be 12 Eastern. So we want to actually make live calls, and only Tuesday and Thursdays it'll be 8 to 9 Eastern. So we're switching to a live call format because I think folks are ready now to do live calls. So that's why we're going to go that route.
I love that. And guys, please, I just put the Zoom link right in the chat for him Monday through Friday. He just switched the time, so please go back and watch it. Mario, if you want to put the time specifically in the chat, that'd be great for everyone.
Yep.
Also, just a little side note, everyone. Can you just make sure it says Facebook user right now? SuperMario is great. He helps so much with motivation and knowledge. Amazing. But we would love to see, who actually is stating this. You got to give Facebook permission to actually, put your name up there. So if you guys, please, we'd like to know, one, who you are. Two, we want to squat up with you and see how we can all present opportunities for each other. So yeah, Mara, you're great, amazing. I know Jesse got a couple things he want to talk to you about, but I do got a couple questions for you overall. Like, what made you just want to just put yourself out there and start giving back to others?
Yeah, so when the Elephant Challenge started, I think it was the July one. I could be off because I think we started in July. It was Carly just kind of got thrown into the mix, and she was awesome, man. She responded. Like, Pace was like, hey, Carly, you're hired. And next thing you know, she's doing it. And understandably, there was a good amount of chaos because it was being planned, a free event, and folks were just jumping in. And I just saw a huge void. And if you look at Pace sets the example. And the beauty about Pace is he learns about from so many people that at that point, he says something that always sticks in my head, which is those people have given him permission to go do and lead, right? And he set the bar for us, right? He set these Zooms, he's making seller calls, he's doing all these things. So I just saw a huge void. I'm like, man, I'm going to create a Zoom accountability call, and whoever joins. And for the first month, it was just like anywhere from 2 to 7 people. And then you guys were nice enough to promote it right after an elephant challenge. And then it kind of has grown from there. Now we average anywhere from 20 to 30. And I'm sure as the word gets out, it'll be more and more and more.
Absolutely.
So that's really why we did it.
Chris.
That is phenomenal. Yes.
There's people in. Can people hear us? Everybody in the Zoom is sending me the YouTube link saying there's no audio.
Not for sure. It's saying it's live.
Can you guys, everybody in the Zoom, can you guys hear me? Okay, so they can hear me. Chris and Mario, do you guys have? Mario, I just sent you the Zoom link. That's probably why everybody can't hear you guys. Just unmute yourself in the Zoom.
Yeah, I just got to try to figure this platform out. Where did you? Oh, you sent it in the private chat, maybe? No?
Yeah, I sent it to you on Messenger. And then
I'm getting comments on Facebook, but everyone can hear us fine. I'm not for sure. Maybe the Zoom specifically.
Got it. It's probably just everybody in the Zoom. Okay.
Yeah, let me try to figure this.
Chris, were you able to unmute yourself in the Zoom?
I'm not in the Zoom right now.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. We're not in the Zoom. Hey, Chris, can you text me the Zoom link and I'll join right on there and get.
Bear with us, guys. Technical difficulties. See, this is a prime example of just getting out and failing. Getting out and failing, you figure it out, and then we just do it better the next time. So appreciate everybody bearing with us. Yep, I know, guys. I know you guys can't hear Chris and Mario.
And Jesse, can you just prompt them to go to YouTube or to create this Facebook group? I just sent you the link, Mario.
Zoom now. All right. Okay, bear with us, guys. Everybody in the Zoom might need to hop over to either YouTube or we're streaming live in the creative group and on mine and Chris's personal Facebook pages as well. So you guys can interact with us in there. I apologize for everybody in the Zoom right now.
Yeah, here we go. So I did it twice. So let's see. Then I'm in Zoom and let's unmute. Here we go. So now I am. Host is not allowing participants to unmute. So.
Yeah, a lot of people like to come off mute and order their tacos and stuff while we're in our meetings. Oh boy.
So I'm gonna log out of Zoom because now.
All right, guys, everybody in Zoom, please go over to YouTube or Facebook right now. I apologize. I'm gonna end the Zoom real quick, guys. But go over to YouTube, and if you guys have any questions, go to YouTube, my personal Facebook page, or the Creative Finance page, or Chris's Facebook page. You guys can jump into the live there and ask your guys' questions. We'd love for you guys. I know there was a couple hands up in the Zoom before we started. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the Zoom right now, just because we're having some technical difficulties. I don't want everybody waiting on us while we're trying to troubleshoot. So just jump out of the Zoom, and I'm gonna end it real quick. Okay, guys. All right. All right, Javier. Don't worry about the Zoom link, brother. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. Thank you for your patience. All right, Chris, we good?
Yeah, we're good. We are good.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if there's a delay or what's going on.
Are you guys all set on that end? Everything good?
Yep. I just wrapped up everything. Yep, cool.
Perfect. So yeah, but again, those who are just joining, sorry about that. We have SuperMario. He's sub 2 leader as well, and also elephant leader. He's in the Florida market, and not just the Florida market. He actually does nationwide deals as well. I believe you're based in not New York, but Florida as well, correct?
I am. I'll kind of give you the 30-second version of me. So I grew up in Manhattan, spent 47 years in that tri-state area, and then moved to Florida. I'm a recovering mechanical engineer, and I say that jokingly. Engineers, we have to get outside of our heads. And any of you guys and gals that are overthinking things, you got to get outside your head. So that's why I like to jokingly say I'm a recovering mechanical engineer, because you really got to get outside your head. And I only became a Florida realtor. I don't even like saying I'm a realtor, because in sub 2, when you join sub 2, we have 8 ways to get folks out of a pre-foreclosure. One of them is to list their home. And I felt unsettled going in there saying, hey, you know, I could do this. Oh, we need to list your house. I got to go get a realtor. Plus the fact that when you're doing deals, you can make a good amount more money, or you have more flexibility in the deal, right? If you can't get paid through the deal because of an assignment fee or whatever, heck, I'll take the commission, or vice versa. Sometimes you forego the commission for the assignment fee. So it really kind of depends. So it gives more flexibility. And then obviously I joined Astro. I joined sub 2. Great priceless communities. You get to meet beautiful, wonderful human beings like Jesse and Chris. And really, when you look at the network of sub 2, it is priceless. And we're not here to sell you sub 2 or, you know, interact in JV with us. You don't need to join sub 2. But I will tell you, when you're ready, there's no better place than the community, i.e., this is what you're seeing here, of the go-giving, help the person that needs it the most and pay it forward. Because Pace looks at you, he gets all excited about, you kind of get a little bit his attention when you close your first deal or when you're doing, but if you really want to get him to focus on you, show him that you're helping multiple people and helping them help other people. That's when you really get his attention, because he's all about paying it forward, go giving, etc. So from that standpoint, and then once you get into the community, I have a fix and flip in Tampa, you do wholesale deals, and you just get involved. And our real focus in the Elephant Challenge is to help the new folks get out of their heads. And I'll get into that as we go through this. But it's really because mindset, and Jesse's a master at talking about this, especially on this Zoom. Mindset is super, super critical. And if you ask me, well, what's the first step? It's all about mindset. Astro specifically, I mean, the trainings in both sub 2 and Astro are ridiculously priceless. But the training in Astro for mindset, that first week is mind-blowing. Like, it's really, really, really good stuff. But if anyone on this call is like, okay, what should I do first? Mindset. Everything starts with mindset.
I love that, dude. I love what you said. I totally agree, man. Like the community that Jamil and Pace has built, and the way that this challenge has kind of blossomed and unfolded, man, it's crazy, because you get so much more. You don't have to know anything about real estate. You don't have to have any money, no knowledge, no nothing. And the value that you get out of here is so crazy. The way I describe sub 2 is kind of the same way that I'm going to describe the power of this challenge. And that is, when I first heard about creative finance, first of all, I know we're not gearing too much toward creative finance right now, but I think during this Elephant Challenge and the way the market is going, there's going to be a lot of pivoting from wholesaling to creative finance, and then even wholesaling those creative finance deals. But though, like when I first found out that you could purchase a house, no joke, for less than the price of a cup of freaking coffee, I was like, what? How do you go to Starbucks and you pay more at Starbucks for your drive-through coffee, your macchiato latte, than to go buy a freaking house? That is insane. That is insane. And if that wasn't cool enough, if that was the standard for cool, you get so much more than that in these communities.
Yeah, it's all about community. I mean, everything. So this business, if you want to boil it down, it's all about relationships. But really, iron sharpens iron, and there's so many critical things. And new folks like to use this word newbie. I can't stand that word. Get that out of your head, because guess what? Every one of us is, and then they use the word imposter. Okay, the imposter syndrome. Guess what, folks? We're all imposters. Every one of us. All of us. Why? Because learning and growing is a journey, right? It's not a destination. It is a journey. You're constantly on the learning path. And if you're not growing, you're dying. So essentially, everybody's an imposter. Everybody is new at something, right? I'll give you the perfect example. So everyone on this call, we're really good at creative financing. We're good at just making deals happen. Typically, though, single family. I can tell you when it comes to multifamily, which thank God, Pace is going to go heavy into next month. And intentionally, you have to focus on one thing, right? So we've intentionally not focused on multifamily because you can only do one or two things max. So if you start branching out, one of my biggest weaknesses is not focusing. So guess what? Now in real estate, we're very focused and we're doing single family. And if you look at, and I know I'm jumping around, but I want to give you a whole bunch of stuff. Wholesaling is freshman year, and this is from Jerry Norton. Sophomore year is fix and flipping. Junior year is buy and hold. And then senior and graduate is multifamily. So what happens? We're in this group, we're not multifamily experts. So what are we? We're technically multifamily newbies, although I don't like that word. So come next month, and what? You got to crawl before you can walk. You got to walk before you can run. So guess what? Stay focused on single family. But once next month comes or next year comes, you start going through the levels of competency. And I tell our guys this: unconscious incompetence is the first one and the worst one, because you don't even know what you don't know. Then you graduate to conscious incompetence. That may seem disempowering, but it's really blessedly powerful, because now you know what you don't know. And now you can start working on it. And then eventually you get to conscious competence, where now you know what you know. And then you get to unconscious competence, which is like right now, all of us are breathing. Like, we didn't join this StreamYard and go, hey, I got to breathe. I have to breathe on the meeting, right? We just do it. So you got to get through those 4 phases, and people feel disempowered. Flush it, man. You got to feel empowered. You're here. You're ready to go. So I want to really start eliminating some of these limiting beliefs. And believe me, if it's in your head and you believe it, you're right. And if it's not serving you, you're gonna, it's like going to a fight with both hands tied behind your back and your legs are tied and thinking you have a chance, and you don't, because you're defeating yourself before you even start. So I'd recommend that you eliminate things like, you're not a newbie. You just may not know that yet, operative word yet, but look, you have a community here. You have a community in different areas, and you can build up and grow. And as Carolyn Kane says, as long as every day you get 1% better, and the reality is you're not going to learn this business in 100 days. So maybe it's 0.1% better. But the bottom line is get better every day and compete against yourself. Don't compete against, like, you look at Chris, you look at Jesse, you look at Pace. These are folks that have invested hundreds of hours, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of hours in this craft. You think you're going to be as good as they are? Of course not. But let's look at Chris or Jesse or any of us. When we started, we were all not very good. And if you're not very good, guess what? The only thing that separates you from us or anybody else is focused time. And as long as you have that focused time and you're willing to do it, then you're going to be fine. I think we lost Jesse.
Yeah. Probably the kids running around. I know he got an army over there, so they probably pulled the plug again. He'll probably be joining very soon. But no, I think everything you said, man, you could have said it any better. Because everything you said was true. I went through the same thing as far as when I started out of which direction to go, right? I developed the shiny object syndrome, which a lot of people do. And then you laser down to focusing on one thing. You literally focus on one thing. And one thing you said earlier when it stuck out to me, right? Because a lot of people don't realize you need to lead with a value. A lot of people in this industry, especially on the greener side, they don't lead with value. They always want to take, and understand, like, what is it in it for me? Versus if you lead with value, I promise you, it's gonna circle right around.
100%. 100%. And the lead with value is so critical, because that's what it's all about, man. It's not what you can get, it's what you can give. If you want to, like, get me ignited, is somebody reaching out and saying, I want to pick your brain. I'm like, time out, bro. First of all, just the thought of someone picking your brain is gross, right? And second of all, no, that's not, you don't want to pick anybody's brain. Each and every one of you has inherent value in you. And that's why the first step I tell our folks is go look at Pace's avatar training. Pace went into 4 full, I don't know how Pace does it, 26-hour Zooms, 30-hour Zooms, this Zoom, that. He went through 4 hours of giving you all of the roles in real estate. Man, go to that video, find out what you're good at. I promise you, every one of you has tremendous value. So why not lead with value? To Chris's point, you get a hold of Jesse, you get a hold of Chris. Man, look for ways that you can help them. And I promise you, when you come to us looking to help us, we're going to want to help you, even go the extra mile, because it's like, wow, that is so much the way to do it that you almost feel compelled to want to reciprocate and give you tremendous value.
Absolutely.
Dude, I love that you said that. I love that you said that. There was a after last week's Zoom that we did, there was a student that reached out to me, and it was awesome. He got a little bit of clarity, I think, and some ideas on what he wanted to do to execute this week. And so he texts me, and he's like, "Hey Jesse, I'm really excited. I am going to get started next week, and I'm going to put my first offer in next week." And I said, "That's fantastic. Let's do 25 offers next week." And so it was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, like going from 1 to 25, like, how does this look? How do I do this? How do I make time for this? And I love what you said, because just the fact that he was texting me and wanting to take action and wanting to get in there and wanting to do all these just amazing things. I was like, you know what? Let's do a Zoom. Let's get on a Zoom and let's break down, what does your day look like right now? How can we alter it? How can we tweak it? And how can we be very, very intentional with every second of your day? And it's interesting because I hear a lot of people give excuses as to why they can't do it. My kids got soccer practice. My daughter's got piano recitals. I've got, on Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatever, and my initial thought is like, well, how are you going to run a multi-million-dollar company with soccer practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Oh my gosh. I am so sorry. I didn't even consider that. You know what I mean? But he didn't go in there, man. He went in there with the attitude of, you know what? I'm going to take this. I'm going to be meticulous and intentional, and I'm going to make this happen. So we got on a Zoom. We organized his day, and it's not an either or, guys. When you're jumping into this, when you have things going on, 80-90% of millionaires are self-made, guys. So it's fair to say that those life events, the soccer practice, the dance recitals, the being tired and sore from the gym, all these excuses, all these things that myself, Mario, and Chris all incur on a daily basis. It's not like those things are inexistent in any of our lives. We're just more intentional with what we're willing to tolerate in our lives. And so because this individual was very intentional and willing to take action, Chris and I were very willing to give him our time. And it was amazing because he sent us a text yesterday. Let me read it for you guys. It was the coolest thing in the world. So he texted us a picture of him filling out an LOI. This is late Friday night. I mean, think about what everybody else is doing on Friday nights. And this guy is putting his kids to bed, and then he goes back to it, and he's filling out paperwork. He's submitting an LOI. And he said, Friday nights. And he said, I've made more progress this week than I've made in months before this. And I just thought that was absolutely phenomenal. So just to go along with what Mario was saying, that's what we love. And the people that are going out and taking action and not being what you guys have probably heard as an ask hole. Hey, don't be that person just jumping in here and consuming content and just asking all the questions and not doing anything with it. Don't be that guy. We want to work with, and we're willing to help people and give people our time that are willing to just jump in there and just take action on the things that we're talking about. So, Mario, I really appreciate you sharing that, man, because this is we had a prime example of an individual who went and did that just this week. Not only that, I think he was 28, 28 or 27, right, Chris? I think it's 28.
Yeah,
because I want to say he had it was 18 months or 2 years, I think, before he turned 30. And that's when his goal was to resign. He texted me and said, Jesse, I've typed out my resignation letter, and it is for May of this year, 6 months down the road. Phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Phenomenal, guys. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. I love what you said there, brother.
Yeah, good stuff. If you guys have more questions, we can go to the questions. I really want to help folks get through a call flow and recommend a couple of books that I think are foundational, so I can get into that later. But if you guys have any questions, I'd happy
Mario,
to address
we got a couple of questions in the side chat in regards. Can you go over the times for next week again, since it changed?
Yep, absolutely. And I apologize for the change because I try to, if you notice from the contact information, 878 squad up, I try to keep everything consistent. The reality, though, is that it's really hard to make real live calls at 8 a.m. It's just hard enough to get realtors normally. You start at 8 a.m., man, that's not good. So we moved it to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. So if you're in Arizona, I believe that's 10 a.m. because I think we're 2-hour difference now as opposed to 3.
Right.
But noon Eastern is the time, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we're going to keep Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. The elephant in the room is why don't we switch them all to noon? Probably would be easier. But one of the things is I look at 9 to 6 as prime time. So I don't and I want to lead by example, right? So we don't want folks practicing. Our practice sessions are Tuesday, Thursday, and I'd like for us to practice from 8 to 9. So that's kind of the, eat your own dog food kind of thing. If we start doing everything at noon, then it's like, man, you say this, but you're doing that. And really the only reason to move it to noon was because it helps the folks on the West Coast if they want to join. And then the folks on the West Coast, if they want to make calls as well. Imagine, we have a couple of folks that have been joining on the 8 a.m. Eastern call. That's 5 a.m. They have no shot at calling anyone. At least we have kind of a little shot, but they have no shot. But if you make it noon Eastern, then everyone has an opportunity to be on a call and we can give you live feedback, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. Thanks for going over that. Much appreciated.
Yep, absolutely.
Let me ask you guys this. We got Jordan in the comments. Rudy and I are looking to get started with the agent outreach, submitting offers, and would love to connect. We're ready to take action. I love seeing comments like that. Now, we see a lot of those comments, but who's actually going to take the action? Do you need that push, or do you need somebody to hold your hand? What does that really look like? And Jordan, we're really willing to help you all the way. No ifs, buts about it. As long as you're willing to be consistent, be intentional, and let us know specifically exactly what that looks like. Do you want us to create a path for you, or do you have a path for yourself and your partner? I believe Rudy is your business partner. I'm not sure if you guys sat down, had a conversation about your goals, your settings, what that looks like in 3 years, 5 years, 6 months, whatever that looks like. But I love seeing these kind of comments. I really love that. I would love to, set up a Zoom or, a call with myself, Jesse, or Mario, whatever that may look like, and see how we can all work together.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to share something with you guys really quick. It's a book I read. It's called Failing Forward. By John Maxwell. Let me try to find this excerpt real quick. So I love how he articulated this, and I feel like so many people can resonate with this. So do you guys feel like when you're joining this challenger, especially if you're fairly new, is it almost like kind of drinking out of a fire hose? You're like, okay, I know that I've got the keys to the kingdom, but which door do I start to walk through? What does that look like? I've got all this information. I've got the community. I've got the resources, but where do I start? And I feel like a lot of people start with just consuming content, right? I'm excited to go out and do agent outreach. Excited to get started. Okay, well, why aren't we getting started? Let's stop theorizing and let's go freaking do it. I had somebody send me a text earlier this morning, and they were like, hey, I'm going to start making offers on Monday. And that's great. Like, we support you guys. That's what we want you guys to do. But I feel like it falls in the same thought process of man, you're right. We got Thanksgiving coming up, and then we got Christmas coming up. And then in January 1st, then I'm going to get in shape. Then I'm going to start going to the gym. Well, why the hell are we not doing it today?
Right.
Why are we not winning right now? So let's stop theorizing. Let's take some freaking action. And so I want to read this excerpt to you guys really quick because it showed up in my memories and I totally forgot about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so amazing. And I feel like it just gives light to a lot of the things that I was thinking when I first joined, this community and started getting into real estate with the amount of overwhelming information that there is. And it really kept me from moving forward. So hopefully this kind of paints a little bit of a picture for you guys on how you guys can get going. Okay. So I'm going to read this real quick. So you guys know what ceramics is, like pottery, right? So the ceramics teacher announced on opening day that he was dividing the class into 2 groups. All those on the left side of the studio, he said, would be graded solely on the quantity of work that they produced. All of those on the right side will be graded solely on the quality. His procedure was simple. On the final day of class, he would bring in his bathroom scales and he would weigh the quantity group. 50 pounds of pots rated an A, 40 pounds of B, and so on. Those being graded on quality, however, needed to produce 1 pot, albeit a perfect one, in order to get an A. Well, came grading time, and a curious fact emerged. The works of the highest quality were all produced by the group being graded for quantity. It seems that while the quantity group was busy churning and burning out piles of work and learning from their mistakes, the quality group, who had to just produce 1 perfect pot, they sat around theorizing about perfection, and in the end had little more to show for their efforts than grandiose theories and a pile of dead clay. It doesn't matter whether your objectives are in the area of art, business, ministry, sports, or relationships. The only way, guys, that you can get ahead is to fail early, to fail often, and fail forward. Same with this challenge, guys. If you guys feel like you are stuck, if you are lost, SuperMario is an amazing freaking resource. This guy is an amazing leader, and he's made himself available to you literally every single day. If you guys have any questions or anything that you want help with calling agents, he's doing all of that. Please get in here. Reach out to Chris and I. We're here to help in any way that we can. But you guys just have to show up. You have to be willing to just show up. Stop consuming content and theorizing about success and get out there and churn all these works, all this clay.
Yep, 100%. If I can just talk through some things that these are all going to be cliches until you apply them, okay? The first one is fail forward fast. You have to fail forward fast. And you have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. One of the things that we had a little bit of challenge is, folks, if you ever join Sunday service, you ever join Wholesale Hotline, or here, anytime that you come on stage, you're going to have to show your video. So one of the things we tell folks is, and women are challenged, and I'm very sensitive to that, especially early in the morning. But if you don't break through this, for me, I'll give you a perfect example. And you think all of us are these guys and gals. We started at your level or worse than your level, and probably worse because we didn't have what you have now. You have us now. We didn't have that. And I tell you, I can speak publicly, no problem. But staring at this little blue light is super annoying to me because I'm like, what the heck am I doing staring at this light? But if I don't stare at this light, it looks like I'm looking away. So all of us have challenges, and you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's easy to say. It isn't easy to do. So in the morning Zooms, one of the things is, I don't know about, listen, if you want to limit yourself, it's going to take you. It's like I go on these role play calls, and right away, everyone wants to high five. Oh, wonderful job. No, that was a crappy call. Yeah, we can give someone high fives for trying, for getting out of their comfort zone. You should, and you want to encourage. But my goodness gracious, do we want to make it 20 calls that you got to be on in order to get really good feedback? Or do we want to cut it to 2 to 3 to 5 calls? And you're like, oh man, I'm starting to get this. I made this mistake, that mistake, but this time I didn't. So it's it's so critical for you to get outside of your own head, because whatever you think, you're going to be right. And no person is an island. All of us I need support. Believe me, I want to be the dumbest person in any given room, because the dumbest person, and believe me, I want to add value, but I want to absorb and learn from everything that's going on. And of course, I'm going to give it everything I got and try to contribute. And in the areas that I'm really good at, I'm going to try to over deliver for those folks, because you're getting a lot. But in any given scenario, believe me, yeah, I'm giving and I learn from all these things, but I want to be in the rooms that Jesse's in, that Chris is in, that Pace is in, right? Because that's how you learn from guys that are doing things that I may not be doing right now. So you folks, because of the level you're at, you benefit from all of that, but you have to have grace on yourself. You're going to start this stuff, you're going to mess it up, but at least you get out there, man, and you fail. Failing is good. Making mistakes is good. Staying on the sidelines and being like, well, I don't sound too good. Right now in our accountability, we're doing something where folks will come on, and again, it's this level of unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence. They're like, all those are pauses. So if those are pauses, why not record yourself, become conscious about the fact that you're doing it, and why not just have the pause? What it does is it makes your conversations flow a lot smoother. You're not distracting the listener, because if they're actively listening, every time you go, you just drive everyone crazy. Stop doing that stuff. So what do? You record yourself, you listen to yourself, you see where you're making these mistakes, and you just grow and grow and grow and get better and better and better.
Dude, I love that you said that, because there's one thing that I've noticed, and we've talked about this before, but for everybody who hasn't heard this before, there's a line right here. Whether you're learning a new skill, whether you're learning a new hobby, whether you're starting a new business, okay, there's a line in the sand. And everybody below that line are most people. Most people, when they're learning something, they do it until they get it right. What Mario is literally telling and articulating to you guys right now is doing it the way that you get above the line. The Pace Morbys, the Grant Cardones, the SuperMarios, they practice it until they can't get it wrong. They practice it until they couldn't F up a conversation, even if they wanted to. And it comes from being that meticulous about your time and your skill. And it comes down to boiling down to one thing, making sure you guys are focusing on one thing. I've been on a Michael Jordan kick, and I've just been consuming a bunch of not contents, but one of Michael Jordan's coaches, physical training coaches, Tim Grover. He's written a couple different books. One is called Winning, and it is absolutely phenomenal. And it is the first thing, as soon as my alarm goes off at 3 a.m, I grab my AirPods, I put them in, and I put that audio book on, and I'm just it's like game time for me, man. I'm just getting in the freaking zone. And when you are that meticulous about your craft, that's when you get to that level. That's when you rise above that line. It's very small and it's a very minute line, but the difference between what everybody else is doing to where they practice a conversation to where it's just good enough to it's just good enough to get information from the realtor. Yeah, you might get lucky and close a deal or two here and there, but to scale and to get to the level that you're truly that your true potential lies, you have to do it until you can't get it wrong, no matter what it is you're doing. If you guys are an integrator and if you're wanting to learn the systems and track KPIs, you guys can be very, very meticulous about that. Put the blinders on and just do that one thing. Because I think a lot of people get overwhelmed with, I've got to have buyers, I've got to have contracts, I've got to learn how to talk and negotiate, and then I've got to find people who can do this and blah, 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 blah. Focus on one thing, like Mario said earlier. Focus on just one thing, guys, and go into it with the blinders. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing, but go in there with the intent of being the Michael freaking Jordan of that one thing. And I can totally vouch for everything that he's saying. That's so funny, because that's exactly what I did. I'd record all of my phone calls, and I would go over them, and I would listen to them almost like a podcast. And I would write down, okay, what did the seller say here, and what could I have done to make that to say something different, or to articulate something different, to communicate something different, to paint a different picture so they see things in a different light that will allow me to leverage other parts of my negotiating process.
So Jesse, what are your thoughts about this comment right here?
When you know what you're talking about, that's when you become the Pace Morby on the phone. I can see both sides of it. You don't have to know necessarily what okay, let me articulate this because I can kind of see where Chris is going with this. You don't have to know everything. You don't even necessarily have to know how you're or what you're talking about, because you don't have to know the entire picture.
Yeah.
Like let's say I call a seller real quick and they're asking me all these questions like, hey, tell me about your company, your business, how do you guys work? How do you sell on creative finance? All these kind of things. And let's say I'm new. I don't have to know anything. And I would say, Mr. Seller, that's a fantastic question. Honestly, I just started working for this company, but this is what they do. If that's something that you're interested in, I'm not the guy to talk to, but I can definitely line you up an appointment with my partners and then go through some of those different options with you.
Absolutely.
In that scenario, I really didn't know anything, and you don't have to.
Yeah, and I would make a case that it's better for you, and I'm going to give you examples later when we get through making calls, that it's better to be a dummy, quote unquote. And because what you'll find in some of the techniques that I'm going to share with you is that people love correcting you. So when you come in and you say the wrong thing almost intentionally, they will bypass filters and you'll pick up what are called the black swans, the little bits of information that you desperately need to craft a deal that they normally are filtered against, right? Oh, I can't tell them that. But because you put them in a position where they're correcting you, they bypass their filters and they go right out and give you the information. The bottom line, folks, is you have to try. Pareto's principle, 20% of your time, get 80% of the value. What we're talking about is once you have gone through the 4 stages, yeah, you want to focus on one thing so that you get to expert status on it. But trust me, this business is ever evolving. You're not going to become an expert at it, but you got to try and get out of your own head and have grace on yourself that as you fail forward fast, you're just going to keep building skills, role playing, adding value, and you're going to get to a place where you can be on a call like this and give other folks value. What separates you guys from us, if there is a separation, it's just time. I love what Jesse always says. You know, you have to be intentional. You have to time block. You have to focus. You know, if I look at Jesse and I see time block, focus, intention, right? And he takes action. Chris takes action. And the key is, it's great to consume content. That's great. But guess what? What's that going to do for you? It's not going to make you any money. You have to apply it and eventually do it. And the only way you're going to move forward is being uncomfortable, getting on these Zooms and aspiring to add value and to impact someone else's life. And when you focus on, even when you're talking to sellers, the most important gift you can have when talking to a seller is trying to solve their problems. If you listen to Pace, his very first deal, how did he get it? He found the bunnies. And I won't go into the story, but the bottom line is he went to add value to the point where the lady couldn't believe that his sole intent was truly to add value. And then 2 weeks later, she calls him and she says, hey, I know you're not going to give me my price, but you were the only one that cared about me. And I'm going to sell my house to you no matter what price you want to give me. Talk about adding value. So that's why Pace is just to me, he's the master go-giver, because the guy, not only, it isn't words with Pace. You spend time with this guy privately, publicly, he's the same guy. The guy is just incredible. And he's all about giving. And the guy has no reason to really do what he does. He's flying all. I look at his schedule and what he does. I'm like, man, this guy's lost his mind. He's a multi-millionaire. He doesn't need to be doing all this stuff. And he does it because he truly cares about us and he cares about you.
Dude, I remember Chris and I were at the mastermind. We went to one of his masterminds. It was earlier this year. And that same week, dude, like he got done with the mastermind, gave like his big, spiel, flew to Miami that night, spoke on stage, and flew back for the mastermind the next day. So crazy, dude.
It's incredible. This guy is just amazing.
Yeah, it was nuts, bro. I love what you said there, dude. I love Do you ever, even if you know the answer, Mario, like if you're talking to an agent or somebody else, because like you said, like people don't admit that they were wrong or that they have misinformation, right? Like a man convinced against his will
is of the same opinion still. Yeah,
100%. Have you found it to be very effective to, even when you know answers to the question, do you ever come to the seller or an agent and just kind of act childlike? Not in a an immature kind of way, but just in terms of asking questions, curiosity.
100%. And it is a secret superpower that you can leverage. I always tell my kids, and I always try to live by, and I'll tell anyone that wants to listen, and write this one down because it's very powerful. In power, there's weakness, and in weakness, there's power. In power, there's weakness, and in weakness, there's power. People that are always trying to tell you how smart they are, they're insecure, they have no power, and they know very little. If I have to tell you that I'm bringing fire and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, no. You just do it. Focus on people's actions, not their words. People can tell me whatever they want, and then I look for their actions to back it up. That's true commitment or a true person. That's authenticity. Someone that is Chris and Jesse, you're never going to hear them say that they're great. No, you could just listen to Jesse. Jesse makes a room, man. When he goes into everyone, like it just lights up. Everyone feels positive. Everyone's like, okay, let's go. Chris gives you everything he had, right? These guys, they don't have to say what they are. You just know it. So whenever you're in a situation, you are so much better off not coming off like you know anything. You want to come from a frame of, you want to be humble. And if you say you're humble, you're not humble. Okay. just but you want to come from a frame that you're humble. You want to come from a frame that you're there to serve. You want to come with a frame. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you techniques where you're better off with an upward inflection of curiosity than you are with a full-blown direct impact kind of tone. You're gonna, when you ask someone for help, if I came in here and no one wants to be told anything. Jesse, you need to do this, and Chris, you need to do that. Who are you? Like, what gives you the, like, but if you say, hey, Jesse, have you ever considered this? Now Jesse thinks about it and he's like, oh man, yeah, I haven't. And now he thinks it's his idea. But who's driving the boat or the bus or whatever analogy you want to use, right? You're offering it, you're suggesting it. And whenever you come from a frame of asking for help, curiosity, wanting to learn, man, you're going to be so much better served than when you think, oh no, I got to show him I'm the authority. I know my stuff. That doesn't work.
I love that, brother. Thank you for sharing that, Mario. What are your thoughts on this right here? On this question?
I want to fail forward action fast. I'm ready to record my call. Yeah, I like it. Broker calls. Okay, close. Do you use to set this up in terms of to record your calls? If you're going to record calls, make sure first and foremost you're in a state where it's one party, right? If it's two party, be very careful with recording calls. So you want to make sure that that's legal first of all. In terms of setting it up, Pace uses a cell phone, so I like keeping the bar easy and not going lowest common denominator, eliminate speed bumps. So I would just focus on my phone or whatever app I can get that's very easy to use. You're not an integrator, need help to get past this roadblock. What am I missing here? If he wants to record his calls and improve his broker calls and locate clues. Yeah, I'm not sure I get it. Get the question.
So is the roadblock? Oh, Ellie's in Arizona. Is the roadblock simply just recording the calls, or what specifically are you lacking clarity or direction in? Is it just simply that you want to record your calls and you just want to know how to set this up? You don't got to be an integrator to set this up. I mean, I make a lot of phone calls personally with my podcast stuff. I can just hit record. So that's how I do a lot of my calls. But
it's called Tape a Call. It's like an app.
Yeah, Tape a Call. Yeah,
Tape a Call.
Tape a Call is amazing. Yeah, so there's some apps and stuff out there you guys can use. But that's where I would start being meticulous and intentional with those little nuances. Even right now, I still record my phone calls and I'll go back and see what I can learn or how I can improve or how I could have changed or articulated something. So Mario, let me ask you something really quick. A lot of what you are seeing right now, specifically to the Elephant Challenge, where are people kind of getting stuck? If you got people who are sitting here like, man, like I'm energized, I love this, I'm getting so much value. But I don't know where to start. I don't know, like, what's keeping people from starting, and what type of advice would you give them? If you got somebody that's sitting here right now that they're saying, hey, I want to get started on Monday, where do we go from here?
Yeah, I think fundamentally it's fear, unfortunately. And fear by definition is false evidence appearing real. So keyword there, false evidence, false. It's false. It's not real. Yet it paralyzes all of us at some level. And look, none of the three of us are going to oh, we've never experienced fear. Are you kidding me? You experience fear all the time. You got to bust through that puppy. Like, we are human, just like you. We sit in toilets, we put our pants one leg at a time. We're all the same. It doesn't matter. We have weaknesses. We're not, just because we get on here doesn't mean that we're not messing up in a whole bunch of different areas. But the key is realizing that no matter the level you're at, you want to improve each and every day and just get better and better and better. But to answer your question, it's 100% fear. They are unwilling to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And they will make, like, folks that never clean their house, if you put a phone in front of them, they'll be like, hold on, I got to clean my house. It's like, they will.
That used to be me, man. I used to, oh no, I got stuff I got to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And just to touch on that, Mario, you're 100% right, because fear, that's powerful, right? A lot of people don't understand how much fear is holding them back from being successful or doing what they really want to do. A lot of other people don't understand that literally once you move past that fear or uncomfortability, a lot of different things changes. A lot of different doors open. And perfect example is, Jesse knows this as my business partner as well. Every day, every single week, I put myself in an uncomfortable position every single day. I force myself to do it, because if I don't, I'll still be where I was 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever that may look like. And people don't understand, like, you have to do that because fear is normal, right? It's okay to face fears. That means there's something that's, it's not something that you're comfortable with, right? But once you start past that, you'll think, okay, that was a breeze. That wasn't too bad. Then it literally sets yourself up to going into so many different opportunities you never thought about being in. Myself and Jesse, perfect example. We're doing amazing within our company. We just recently started it up, and we never thought we'd be where we're at today. But we're facing fears together as a business to push ourselves into the next level, where we want to make sure that, one, we're providing value. Two, we want to make sure that we're giving back to those and showing them things, the techniques, coaching, developing, training of what not to do, because we went through it. And I just wanted to touch on that, because I think that's a lot of people don't understand that fear is very powerful. If you don't face that, whatever that challenge or obstacle you're going through, you're going to be in the same position the next 15 years. You're going to be wondering, why are you still watching this live? Why are you still in the same position? Why are you still working your 9 to 5? Whatever that may look like. I'm not saying a 9 to 5 is a bad thing to do, but if you really want to become wealthy, rich, whatever that peace of mind looks like for you specifically, you have to face your fears. I'm not saying jump off a cliff or anything like that. I'm saying, like, literally put yourself in uncomfortable positions where you try it out, experience new things, go through new doors.
I love that, Chris. I think you hit the nail on it. That is literally like as you were saying that, this is what came to mind. When you guys were both talking about fear, Like the way it's interesting because jumping into this, it's a mindset thing, right? Just like Mario was saying, it's all a mindset thing. And for me, when I jumped into this, I was 29, I'm 32 now, and I had to undo 29 years worth of thinking about shit a different way, worth about thinking about failure, thinking about money, thinking about debt. What are people going to think of me if I do this? What are people going to think of me if I say this? And so it's huge, man, because those fears of the unknown and what other people are going to think about you will keep you from moving forward. But as I've increased my mindset in the way that I perceive and think about things, it's interesting because when I look at either people or circumstances, if somebody doesn't like what I'm doing, it's interesting because my first initial thought now just almost automatically is, oh, well, cool. Well, if they don't align with what I'm doing, like, awesome. That's perfect because it's literally a cheat code. The universe is saying, hey, Jesse, Doug over here doesn't fit in with what you're doing or whatever their name is. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, well, that's awesome. Well, I'm just going to put my wall up then and they're out there and I'm cool. I'm going to keep on trekking now. You know what I mean? Same with fear. If you guys are going throughout your day and you're doing something in your business and every day it's just really monotonous and it's not scary to you, that is literally a cheat code. That's the universe saying, hey, you're not doing something that's going to grow your business. And then you have an idea or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, man, now that makes me nervous. That's a cheat code right there. That fear is the universe telling you, hey, I need to go do this if I want to grow myself and my business. If I want to grow my circumstances and elevate the people that I'm surrounding myself with, I need that fear. And the fear is literally a cheat code. If it scares you, then run to it. Because that's exactly what you should be doing. And I know this because I leaving the Air Force. I used to be in the Air Force. I did 14 years, almost 14 years. And for those of you guys who don't know, you can retire at 20 years. Everybody else who was looking at me like, is this guy freaking nuts? You got to be shitting me. 6 more years and you could have had a guaranteed retirement for the rest of my life. But my perception, although I was scared because you get benefits and all these other kind of things, I wasn't making the money that I wanted to make. I wasn't living to the potential that I thought I was capable of living. And I thought, man, I could retire in 6 years with, $2,000, $1,800 a month for the rest of my life. But dude, I'm going to be making millions in that from between now and that next 6 years. Like, what's the cost of not taking that leap? What's the cost of not betting on myself? And so as soon as I saw that, like, just to go along with what you guys were saying, like, you know how scary that is, especially as a family man, to give all of that up and just say, hey, this scares me, but I'm going to run toward it. It was just a huge indication for me. So I just wanted to share that with you guys for a second, just go along with what Chris and Mario were saying. That's something that I've learned on my journey is if you're taking a leap, if you're doing something that scares you, dude, that's your golden ticket right there. Oh, well, I should probably do this then. If you guys feel like you're like, I have no clarity and no direction, if nothing else, if there's something that scares you, go freaking do it because that's what you should be doing.
Yeah, I always tell our group, whenever you're in a fork on the road, always do the hardest thing. And I say that to my kids because humans, we all want the path of least resistance, right? We're like water rolling downhill. Whatever is the path of least resistance, that's what we want. But one of the things that Chris said, and this is why I love you guys and admire you so much, these guys are very successful. And for Chris to say what he said, this is the reality of any successful person. If you're not experiencing challenging situations each and every day, you're not going to grow. And like I said before, if you're not growing, you're dying. So to hear these guys be like, hey, I go after being uncomfortable, man, that's exactly what you want. Comfortable people are not successful. You show me one person that's comfortable and they're successful, please, I will give you whatever you want. Whatever you want. Also, a couple of Vossism. Never take advice from someone that you were not willing to trade places with. Never take advice from someone that you're not willing to trade places with.
Oh my God.
And then in family, you're going to have all these experts, mother, sister, brother, cousin. They've never done what you're trying to do. Why on God's green earth? Why is one of these questions you try to avoid when you're talking to customers, except when you're trying to figure out whether you're the favorite or the fool, and we'll get into that later. But the bottom line is, here's a why question for you. Why would you take advice from someone that's never done what you're trying to do? I mean, think about that. And you're letting those people and listen, I'm not saying you got to trade your family, but you at least guard your mind like it's a vault, right? And make sure that only stuff that comes positive from Jesse and Chris and your surroundings are allowed in. Anything that's negative, you just kind of keep a distance on and be very protective of what you consume.
Dude,
I love that. I love that.
Crazy. I wrote that one down, man. I gotta turn that into something, dude. Holy cow. I freaking
Chris
love
Voss,
that, dude.
man.
Oh
Chris
my
Voss
gosh.
is amazing. He's amazing. And we talked about comfort. Don't be comfortable, man. If you're looking to be comfortable, then just don't even try, because the chances of you succeeding are not going to be really good. You're going to be the one that says real estate doesn't work when you have no proof, because you really were comfortable the whole time.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, man. That was very powerful. And not just that, that's gonna be a big one for this week. I think this is the first time I ever heard that, but that's so true.
That did wonders for me right there, bro. Literally, like I really genuinely appreciate that. Like, I feel like that just unlocked something in my mind, man, because that's gosh dang, that's so powerful, dude. Because we all go through that, when we're trying to make this change from this transition of who we are to who we can become. You're going to go through all of this stuff, not knowing what steps to do, what clarity to take. You're going to, and as if none of that stuff was enough, you have friends, you have family that are sitting here. Why are you doing this? This isn't going to work. You're not successful. You're not, this is too big of a risk. This is blah, 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 blah. But gosh, dang it, Mario. Oh man, dude, that just unlocked so much for me, bro. Because I went through that personally too, making through this transition, friends and family. And man, that is just so powerful. Never take advice from somebody you're not willing to trade places with.
Yeah, that's Chris Voss, man. I got to tell you, realize that people closest to you have direct access to your heart. You're very vulnerable to people that are close to you. And so that's why you have to be so well guarded. If they are not doing this type of stuff, you have to calibrate the advice, and you have to give it a special filter, right? Because they're not qualified to have an opinion, right? Well, they can have an opinion. Everyone, right? Opinions are like behinds. We all have an opinion, but you have to keep guard of your heart and give it the magnitude, the force, right? The force that it comes in. You have to then calibrate it with the level of experience that they have, right? So I'm a mechanical engineer, right? But I'm not a rocket scientist. And if I'm going to give you advice on how to build a rocket, you're going to be like, dude, like, you know nothing about that. So any opinion I give you on that, you really have to calibrate it with, hey, this guy is at best speculating, because he's got no basis for even saying anything like that. If your family members are multi-real estate millionaires and they're giving you advice, man, at that point, you take that, because that person's done something really right to get to that level. But if they haven't, man, you have to really guard your mind. Otherwise, you're just going to put yourself in a situation of being someone that says, well, real estate worked for them, but it didn't work for me. And peace and love.
Yes.
So true, man. So true. And thanks for sharing that, man. It's just a lot of different people to understand that, we're speaking from experience, right? This is stuff we went through. We're not saying we're perfect. We're not saying that we have everything, put together. It's just a matter of we all experience obstacles, challenges, and we broke through them. And we're trying to set you guys up, the viewers that's watching, to go through the same thing, but actually go through a door that you don't have to go through some of those obstacles that we went through. So why not just, squat up, not within the side chat, but also with us, whatever that may look like. And let's create the opportunity for all parties. Let's literally not make you, but I can't say make you millionaires, right? Because everyone doesn't want to be a millionaire. Everyone has their different goal. A lot of people goals out there. They want to, as long as they get $100,000 a year, they're satisfied, right? But if that's what you want to do, that's totally fine. It's just what Mario, Jesse, and at our point of our lives, it'll be doing ourselves a disservice for our family if we stopped at the $100,000 mark. So I just wanted to pinpoint that out. And I did see a comment in the side chat. Perfect example. Luke, you're 100% right. Mario is amazing. You need to go to his daily Zooms, Monday through Friday. And I know it was 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time, but it recently just changed. Mario will put that information back in the side chat, or I can do that for you.
Thank you.
I think the side chat, Chris, I think it's just going to YouTube.
Yeah, it's tough because I don't see it, and that's why.
Okay. No worries. I'll put it in side chat for you guys. Let's do it right here. And also, side note, guys, Facebook user, you have to give Facebook. You have to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and grant them permission to let us see your name. Unfortunately, we like to communicate by your name, not just by Facebook user. It's like you eat something about to feel comfortable, then you have to go 100%. Let's see. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Becky, my family thinks I need therapy. Now, I personally know Becky. Becky's an amazing individual. She actually has a lot of neat stuff going on. I'm not going to spoil it. That's up for her to disclose that, but she's working on phenomenal things. And actually, Jesse and I, we're with her right now on a couple of things as well. So she's doing a lot of neat things. It's going to be nationwide soon. She's been building that for a couple of years, but I'm not going to disclose that because I wasn't given permission to do so. So I'm not going to do that. But definitely connect with Becky. She's an amazing individual.
I think did Mario freeze or did I freeze?
I think Mario froze.
I don't know.
Get a screenshot.
Oh, he's still there. We can still hear him.
I just got a
screenshot.
It's
crazy because at least I froze smiling and with my eyes.
Got it.
Oh, you can still see where you froze.
Oh, there you
so
go.
Funny.
But no, guys are amazing. But look like he's going to jump back in as soon as you get a second. But yes, Mario was an amazing individual. He's well known in the Florida market. Yes, Jesse, we buy in all 50 states. We also have buyers in all 50 states if we're not specifically buying that specific asset. Though Mario's he does a lot of comping, he does a lot of underwriting as well. He also calls agents, hence why he actually switched the times. He wanted to give people actually the ability to actually call agents to be like a co-pilot on the phones as well. And amazing individual. So please
he's literally Super Mario.
That's exactly why we call him Super Mario. Absolutely. Mario said, yeah, 100%. Yeah, he dropped some amazing stuff today, and Mario's. It's words can't put. How would I say this, Jesse?
The level of gratitude that we have for him cannot be expressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
With just words alone.
He's an amazing goal giver. And he mentioned something earlier that stuck out that I wanted to pinpoint, that initially when you're talking to sellers, try to solve their problem first. Stop reaching out. I'm not going to mention any names, but just stop reaching out to leaders or other people in the sub-2 communities and stating that how much are we going to make on the deal. If you're worried about how much you're going to make on the deal first, you're not going to go far in this industry at all. Try to solve the seller's, homeowner, whoever it is you're speaking to, problem first. That should be the number one goal, not how much you're going to make on a deal. I received a call 2 days ago. I'm not going to mention his name, but he literally stated to me, he brought the deal to me. Hey, Chris, I got an opportunity. Would you like to hop on the phone with the seller? Absolutely. That's not a problem. However, the next line out of his mouth, quote unquote, how much do you think we're going to make on this? So I paused for a second and I'm going to say his name. I asked him, I said, is that your goal right now? To try to make the maximize on this seller? Or are you trying to figure out her situation? He said, yeah, we're trying to figure out the situation, but I just want to know how much you're going to make before we have the call. And I said, well, unfortunately, I don't think I'm the right guy to make this call for you. You can reach out to someone else in the community, but I'm not the right one that I'm gonna be on the phone, because ultimately what I'm saying is I don't like putting myself in that situation to try to figure out how much I'm gonna make first. And the seller walks away. We probably get the house, but walks away not happy, and whatever the situation is. Always solve the problem of the seller. And once you feel that, I guarantee it, the money will come, right? The money will come eventually, but obviously the seller's problem is first. You don't want to put a seller out on the street, especially going through foreclosures. It's at an all-time high right now. Foreclosures, auctions, and all that good stuff. If you literally figure out that situation first, I guarantee the money will come last. Now, I will be more pissed if I hear that someone made $30,000 on a deal and this lady walked away, lost her house. I mean, almost lost the house and actually didn't walk away with no money, but she just made $30,000 on a deal. But she was looking for 10,000 just to get her to the next destination. But she's homeless now because you wanted to be greedy. Those individuals, I don't care how much you're making on that deal. If you made $1 million on that deal, I don't want to work with you. And I can speak for Mario and Jesse and other business partners. We don't want to work with people like that. Always try to find the solution first to the seller, not your solution, how much you want to make in your bank account.
Dude, I love that you said that. For everybody, if you've ever said something on Facebook or to somebody else that you're working with, before you say that, think about this. Think about this for a second. And I know I've shared this with you guys on some of our previous meetings, but when you guys come into these meetings, what does Pace say? Squat up, talk in the comments, squat up. But you guys need to be treating these accountability calls, these Zoom meetings, these Facebook lives, these YouTube lives. You need to be treating these like a freaking boardroom, like you're walking into a meeting with other real estate professionals. Okay. Now, before you post on Facebook or you say something like that to another investor, pretend like you are talking to that investor in a boardroom with all the other investors. Whether you're in Sub 2 or in the Creative Finance Group or wherever, before you say something to that individual, are you going to articulate it the same way you would if you were in a boardroom and everybody's going one at a time and now it's your turn to talk? You have the floor. And is the first words out of your mouth really going to be something along the lines of, man, do we got to give 50% of the deal to this, and this? Or, hey, am I going to make $10,000 on this or whatever? That's your one chance to say. And other people like Mario, Chris, and myself, the reason that Chris and I and Mario don't want to work with somebody like that, because that says so much about their mindset. And in the long run, it doesn't matter how much money we make, that's going to be a headache. I don't want to work with somebody like that. They're not doing me they're not helping myself level up. Absolutely. They're not helping Chris level up. They're not helping Mario level up. And we don't want to be surrounded by those. We're in an abundance mindset. There's certainly no shortage of deals. I don't need to work with you.
Yeah, and look, folks, we're not Mother Teresa. We're in this business for the money, and the money. But this is a long-term business. And we need to focus on helping others first. The money's going to come. See, the beauty about the three of us is we can make money many different ways. We elected to do it this way. And this is the way that we focus on serving. And for those of you also that think, whatever, I realize that I'm probably more flawed than anyone over here. Okay. And the bottom line is that you just continue to focus on getting better each and every day. It's like Paul used to say, the closer you get to the light, the more you realize how dirty you really are. When you realize that you can work each and every day to get better and better, and are you going to fall on you got to pick yourself right back up and go after it. But the bottom line is I want to work with people that are focused on serving, not focused on what they're going to get. And again, I preface it by telling you, we're here for the money, and the money. And we're not apologetic about it. But the bottom line is, let's make the money getting someone else to a place where they need to be, whether it's a next chapter of their life or whether it's getting to whatever it is that makes them happy. This is a relationships business and it's a long-term business. And I don't care, to Chris's point, I think it's dead on. All of us feel this way. I don't care if it makes us $1 million. I don't want it. You can have it. I'd rather focus on helping people and getting paid that way, because there is a level of satisfaction when you make that happen that is truly priceless. You know what I get benefit out of? There's a gentleman, and I probably shouldn't share his name, so I won't. That's part of our group. When we started the accountability, now mind you, we've been doing this like 5+ months. He's been coming for like 2 months, and this guy was fumbling and stumbling, and I loved it, right? Because you could see that he's willing to he's scrappy, he's willing to just keep trying. Last week he called the realtor, and I almost fell out of the chair. I mean, this was as good. Was it a perfect call? No. Understand, folks, nobody makes perfect calls. I don't, Pace doesn't, Chris, Jesse, they don't make perfect calls. This was as good a call from someone at his like, I'm telling you, I was like, wow, what a kick-ass call. I mean, he was building rapport, he was building a relation, he was talking. She was like, oh, thank you for, I'm like, man, let me tell you, did we get a sale? No. But I was so happy for him. That to me was worth everything. Why? Because you see, because this is not about me. It's not about you. It's not about Jesse or Chris. This is about your generational impact. It exceeds us. It
Absolutely.
goes so, when you start doing business the right way, and that's why I love these guys the way I do. Like Chris talks it. These guys walk the talk. These guys are not talkers. They literally live this. And one of the things when they tell you that this is who they are, and they're going to build a long-term business that's generational. Why? Because they're focused on the right things. It's not a quick hit. It's about doing it the right way.
100%, man. And thanks for sharing that. Thank you. Yeah, Mario hit the nail right on the head right there. And it's really leads back to lead with value. Whether you're talking to a seller, whether you're talking to an investor, or you talking to your next financial partner, whatever that looks like, lead with value. Stop being selfish. A lot of people need to understand. Stop thinking about what I'm going to get out of it. Literally realize, have a conversation, lead with value, and I guarantee everything will circle right back to you. And it happened. It happens all the time when we least expect it. This week alone, it's a lot of great things that happen within our business that we didn't see for fruition, right? But we kept it moving. Like literally, you may not make the money right now, but I guarantee you 2-3 months from now, whatever that looks like, it's going to 10x whatever you were looking to get in the beginning. And the people who do that, they'll probably get the deal, but they won't go far. Guarantee that they won't go far as they really want to go far in life. But Mario, thank you again for sharing that. You're phenomenal. And we got amazing comments. How do they reach out to you directly? Is it by social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube? What does that look like for you specifically?
I mean, 878 Squad Up is a good marketing branding number. I would give my cell phone number, but I'm a little concerned. But that rings to my cell phone number. But I brand myself on all the and listen, social media is one of my biggest weaknesses right now, and we will improve that because we're creating daily content, so we will populate it. But if you ask me what's my biggest weakness right now, it's social media. I don't do a good enough job. We're focused on so many things, and that's just all an excuse. You got to make time for social media. And I will, but at that point, we're not there. But yeah, and I brand myself SuperMario Force, and the Force is, and if we could put it.
I think we probably lost him.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
My mom comes in and giving me God knows what, and I'm like, I'm on a live call. She's like, oh,
can I get a plate?
But I try to brand myself. I try to make it consistent. So SuperMario, as you can imagine, is taken. So we add the number 4 and then CE for SuperMario Force. So if you go on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and even on Facebook, it's all SuperMario Force. And but 878 Squad Up, we always squat up. It's easy. I can come back if we're going to end the call. I can come back because I was going to give you pretty actionable stuff on calls. I don't want to elongate the call because that's a good little chunk.
Oh.
No, let's get to that, man.
Okay, so we
Yeah,
want to
let's dive. Yeah, absolutely.
And then obviously, if you come on the accountability calls, over time you build a relationship with folks, and it's pretty powerful. You do this, you're giving and all that, and you get to meet people. You start caring for them, and you start rooting for them, and it's a beautiful thing the way this whole thing works.
Absolutely. Perfect. So Mario, I know you had a couple of things you wanted to share. Did you want to screen share, or is that something like you wanted to share with the audience in regards to like a?
Yeah, no, I'll kind of walk folks through a couple of books, and then I'll walk through a call and some of the stuff that we try to teach on the accountability calls, and then I have a link and a kind of a link to share that'll talk through the Sandler submarine, because Sandler, to me, David Sandler, who wrote the book, and this will be the first book if someone could put it on the chat. You can't teach a kid how to ride a bike at a seminar. If you ask me, Sub 2 is a gazillion different things, right? And it's literally priceless. But if you ask me, hey, what's one book that Sub 2 is built on? I would tell you is probably the closest thing would be Sandler. If you listen to Pace on a call, he's basically walking you through a Sandler submarine. So to the extent that you learn Sandler, David Sandler, you can't teach a kid how to ride a bike at a seminar, and you buy the audiobook, you buy the written book, it is the blueprint on how to get through sales calls. And for anyone that says, hey, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not into, listen, when two people are talking, one person's buying, one person's selling. So don't kid yourself. We all do sales. Right now, I'm selling, you're buying. You can choose not to buy, right? But it's, and fortunately for you, we don't make money by recommending this book. But I highly recommend, if you are serious about this business, you have to get, you can't teach a kid how to ride a bike at a seminar. And then the close or the companion for me is Chris Voss's, and Chris VOSS. So Boss with a V for Victor. Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as if your life depended on it. That book, to me, with Sandler, is foundational. So I'll dub my talk, what am I going to dub it? The Sand Voss method, right? Because it's Sandler and Chris Voss. So it's the Sand Voss system. Okay, I like alliteration. So the Sand Voss system. Why? Because they're both very complementary. Sandler was doing his stuff in the late 60s. And it is mind-blowing to me that I only learned about Sandler in the last couple of years. And here I've been in sales. I've been in technical sales all my life, or I've been in online marketing, or I've been launching products on e-commerce and doing all these things, yet I never heard about Sandler. And I get into Sub 2 and I'm like, holy Christmas, this guy's incredible. The Sandler submarine is what you're applying. Anytime you pick up a phone, and I know that phone weighs 1,000 pounds, but anytime you get the courage, you exercise your free will to pick up that phone and be uncomfortable, you want to implement the Sandler submarine. And then the techniques you want to use to extract motivation and pain as we go through the submarine are Chris Voss's systems. So that's why I call it the Sand Voss system. And I literally made that up as I was dreaming this morning about this call. And I said, man, we want to bring high-powered value to Chris and Jesse. So I figured, now you have it, the Sand Voss systems. My own accountability group doesn't even have this. And the handout I'm going to give you.
You're seeing it live here, folks.
That's right.
For the first time.
At the end, my own guys don't have it. So this is how much I care about these guys. So the Sand Voss system really combines the Sandler submarine with all of Chris Voss's techniques. And some of Chris Voss's techniques, actually, I'm going to give you two handouts. One is, and both are priceless, really. One is the Sandler submarine and some of the questions to ask in order to get pain. And I know our guys on Monday are going to be like, why didn't you give this to us? but you will. You'll get it here and you'll get it Monday. And the second one is a handout that the Black Swan Group, which is Chris Voss's company, puts together. And let me tell you, this handout is priceless. And I was like, why would they give so much? And again, it's the theory of providing value, go giving. Here's the Black Swan Group, which is Chris Voss's company and Brandon Voss's company. They basically will give you a free handout that has all the techniques. You don't even have to buy the book, because to them, they want you to get better. And then eventually, I guess, hire them for your company to come and do personal consulting. But they give it all to you for free. They also have a newsletter on Tuesdays. But I'm going to give you both of those links at the end. So that's the kind of the tease to stay to the end. But if you break down a call, not that you need a tease, but if you break down a call, what is it that you're trying to do initially? And it's tough because this isn't interactive. So I guess I'm just going to present. You really, if you break down a call, what you want to do is put the person in a situation where they're going to give you as much information as possible. That's the bottom line. You want information from them. Now, if you want information from them, should you be doing all the talking, or should you be letting them do all the talking, and you just being kind of the maestro, the coordinator, the person trying to extract the information, right? What I always remember in all the training is you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. That's because you need to listen twice as much as you talk. I would say in our business, it's a 1-to-5 ratio. If you're talking more than 15 to 20% of the time, you're not getting the right amount of information that you're going to need to put the deal together for them. So you really need to focus on less of you, more of them, and just let them talk. And so the minute you pick up the phone call, how many of you folks pick up a call and you have no idea what to say? You're like, hamada, 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 right? Everyone's right? So
That used to be me.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a really quick one. And if you understand this frame, you'll understand how to solve a lot of different problems. The best way to solve any problem is to try to put yourself in the situation of the person that you're talking. And when you're able to see the world through their frame, that helps you. That's going to give you all of the sniper bullets that you're going to need to solve their problem. So let's just forget real estate. Let's just think of a cold call. Okay. How many of you get cold calls each and every day? Everybody gets cold calls, right? And the minute that you get a cold call, what is going through your mind? So the reason I love the elephant challenge, and I think Pace picked a great analogy and a great motif, is because how do you eat an elephant? You eat them one bite at a time. And that keeps coming over and over and over in everything we do. When you are making a cold call, what you want to do is put yourself in the receiving end of that call. What are the natural questions that come up in your mind when someone calls you and says, hello, is this Chris? And you're like, yeah, right? Why do you do that? Yeah, because you're like, because what are you thinking? You're thinking, who the heck is this?
Right.
What do they want? And how much time of my life are they going to take? And are they going to annoy and piss me off because I'm busy doing all these other things, right? So when you understand all these things, you immediately, or you may not realize this, but yes is a trap question. And I know people have been brainwashed to believe that yes, the micro selling and the micro commitment and isn't today a beautiful day? Yes. And isn't this happening? Yes. And isn't that happening? Buy my product. No, that doesn't work. Yes is a trap. And the proof is, have someone ask you what your name is. And you're like, is this so-and-so? You're like, yeah. Like, what the hell do you want? Who are you? Right. So what you want to do is when you're in a conversation, you want that person to retain their autonomy. So what you want is anything that you say to them to land very softly and for them to feel, or at least have the illusion that they're in control. Make sense? Because if you're in control, you feel empowered, right? And then some of you might be saying, yeah, but you're going to do things that's going to manipulate them. And I'm not going to argue that. If you're a bad person, you are manipulating them. But if you're a good person, you're going to take them to a better place. And you're going to help them get to the next chapter of their lives. So are these techniques manipulative? Yeah. For bad people, they're very manipulative. For good people, they're very, very powerful and very, very good for whoever they're serving, because that's why we serve first. So as we go through this, anyone that's afraid of making a cold call, it's because you haven't put yourself in a situation where you increase the chances of success. Now, are you going to get hangups here and there? Of course. Are you going to get people, depending on the markets, right? If you're calling a pre-foreclosure, those folks are going through 5 levels of grief, right? They're going through disbelief. They're going through anger, through depression, through negotiating, and then finally acceptance, right? Depending on where you get them on that pendulum, you might get a response that, regardless of what your technique is, it's not good, because they're going through a really tough time, and you got to understand that. But if you set the call up in a way where you're giving yourself the highest probability of success, what you're going to find is that things are going to go a lot smoother. So in the case that we're calling a direct to seller call, right? Because a realtor is a lot easier. A realtor is in business to receive calls. They're in business to talk to people. That's kind of an easy call, believe it or not. Any of you got folks intimidated by that? That's an easy call. Harder is a direct to seller call. So when you're in the direct to seller, the way and look, make this your own. Just don't take it because I'm telling you this. It's got to fit your personality. Now, if you violate the foundational premises, I'm not responsible for your results, no matter what you do. But don't violate the foundation. Just maybe adjust or tweak what to fit your personality. But the way I call is, I don't say hi. I don't do anything like that. I say Chris. So if I'm calling Chris, ring, ring, I say Chris, right? And then
Hello.
So I assume that right, because he's going to say, yeah. And I say, this is Mario. I realize this call is out of the blue, but I'm only going to take 30 seconds of your time to ask you a quick question. Is this a bad time to talk? Now, what did I just do? I answered every question that he could possibly have. And then I asked him a no-oriented question, which gives him the power of whether this call continues or whether this call stops. Right? So the chances of that succeeding over anything else you're doing is like 10x. Because I basically said, Chris, right? He said, yeah, who's this? This is Mario. I realize this call is out of the blue, so I'm addressing the elephant. Whenever you avoid something, you plant it. Whenever you avoid something, you plant it. Whenever you address something head on, you diffuse it, right? Haven't you ever talked to someone that says, I'm not trying to be a jerk, and then everything that proceeds after they say that is them being a jerk, right? Because it's like, dude, seriously, you're not trying to be a jerk, but you're being a blessed jerk. Look at you.
It's like with all due respect.
Yeah. Also, the never, ever, ever. I try staying away from never and always, but this is an absolute never. Never tell someone or say to someone, so let me see if I got this straight. You are disempowering them. That is a power removing type of thing. Tell me. Let's see if I got this right. Let's any variation of that. Avoid that. You want to use labels. You want to use mirrors, and we'll get into that here. But that is not the approach. You want them to constantly be talking. But getting back to the intro, what did we basically do there? I basically answered all of their questions, all of Chris's potential questions. And then when I ask a no-oriented question, now he has no is safe. No gives you like you're in control, right? My kids used to always come to me and say, hey, Dad, is it okay if and my immediate response was no, right? Because no kept me safe. And then after I said no, I'd be like, well, why is it that you want to do that? Because I didn't know what and how questions. So I would ask why. So why is it that you want to do that? And then they'd explain to me and I'd be like, I'm okay with that. I think you should go. See, but no protects you. No is like, okay, I now have the power. I said no. So no is a very soothing, very good place. So you want to always ask no-oriented questions. Avoid yes. Turn your yes-oriented questions to no-oriented questions. So now, once I have the 30 seconds, I'll ask Chris, hey, your number came across my desk. You'd be surprised, right? I'm putting forward the immediate objection. What's going to be adjusted? How'd you get my number? Your number came across my desk as someone that potentially wants to sell their home. Is that still the case? Right? So now, and then if they say yes or no, now I'm going to ask permission again to continue, right? Because you want them to be in control. So if they say, yeah, I do want it. I said, well, I asked initially if I could get 30 seconds. Is it okay if I ask a few more questions just to help me help you? And then you leave it at that. And now they've given you permission. So now you have a free runway to kind of roll. So now let's get through the Sandler summary. Sandler summary, and I'm going to give it to you later. It's basically you want to build rapport first. And rapport is a critical thing, right? Because this is a relationships business. So the extent that you can build rapport, that's really, really good. In the first question, Sandler, the next step or the next section in the submarine is an upfront contract. In our case, on the first call, you're not really, the upfront contract is not appropriate. That's more appropriate for the next call. But I like mentioning it because I want you to realize that on the next call, that's a critical component. After that, it's pain, 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 motivation, motivation, motivation. If you show me a deal, I will show you pain. If you don't show me a deal, or if you show me a deal that you didn't get, I will show you not enough pain to make the deal happen. That is a foundational principle. No pain, no motivation, no deal. So you want to get pain, 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 motivation, motivation, motivation. And that is huge in Sandler. And Sandler gives you very actionable questions to try. How long have you been experienced that? How much does that cost you? And there are a bunch of different questions that we'll go through to help bring out the pain, because you want to extract the pain. Now, as you're extracting the pain, sometimes, right, every conversation is different and it's dynamic. Sometimes that's why I don't like scripts. I feed off of whatever they say to me. And then as long as I know what my Sandler submarine and my sequence is, then I can always get back to it regardless of how they sway me in the conversation. Because if you focus on a script, the minute they say something off script, you're going to be like, hamada, what do I do? And that's just not the best look. But even if you find yourself in that look, no problem. Just take it in stride, have a little grace, and keep going. Any questions from anyone so far before I continue? Or any comments?
So one thing you just said was scripts. A lot of people, when they hear scripts, they think they have to follow that to the T. Same thing with our business. We have acquisition people that we have on our team as well. And we tell them all the time, use that script as a guideline. Just have a conversation. I don't want you to read it from verbatim exactly what's on that specific list. To be honest, do I use scripts? No, not at all. No. Every conversation I have with a seller, owner, or agent, I'm just being myself and having a conversation. The more so if you're literally being yourself, you'll get across the finish line a lot sooner versus just trying to read off a script. Like it just doesn't work. No. Yes.
Well, it's unnatural too.
100%. 100%. And then that's when you start to stuttering and you start like all these other crap you don't need to put in that may become natural in your head. But in reality, if you're just really having a conversation with the agent, seller, or whoever that may be, I guarantee you'll get get what the information you're looking for across the finish line.
Dude, 100%.
And our team does an amazing job at that. And literally, Anna, Maj, I don't mean to name drop, but they're part of our team. But
Team Mana,
Team Mana, we call them. They're actually at a mastermind right now. And literally, when they're on the phone, they're amazing because they're just having a conversation. That is it. Don't be a robot. Like literally, don't be a robot. Even when we had VAs a couple years ago, and last year, I told them the same thing. I want you to bring out your own personality, because you may have 10 things on that specific script that you want to get across, but that seller may answer number 1, 7, 9, and 4. And then you're still trying to go through that script, answering, trying to ask those specific questions. Why? He just gave you the answer. And a lot of people don't realize that. And that's why, Jesse and I, and I'm pretty sure Mario as well, yes, we all use the San Marine, as a guideline, but you never know what the seller is going to say. You just never know. You may get an emotional seller. You may get a red seller who's just angry at the world, especially in the foreclosures. They're in denial. They don't want to hear nothing we got to say. They don't care what we got to say. Although we have a solution for them, they're in denial. They're going to lose their house, but they're in denial. They don't care. So those kind of approaches, I'm pretty sure everyone got their own approach with it, but Mario's, he's 100% right. 100% right.
I heard Daniel Chiano, he gave a good comparison to, like, when it comes to scripts. And I don't remember what it was verbatim, but basically the idea was, like, imagine you going on a date with somebody and you have a script, right? You got these lists of questions that you want to know, is this person compatible with me because I want to start a family? And so one of the questions on my script is I need to ask my date if, does she want to start a family? So you got this script, right? And then you go on a date and your date is sitting here telling you about the jeans that she had to return at JC Penney. And you're like, okay, how many kids do you want? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, it's not natural. And so it's equally as awkward when you guys are reading off a script and trying to have a conversation with somebody. Like, ditch the script, use it as a guideline, and just have a conversation. Yeah, just like Mario and Chris are saying.
That is literally just have a conversation. A lot of times people, you join their mentorships, you join their courses, especially wholesaling courses, whatever they may look like. They want you to follow their script, but they won't tell you just to have a conversation. And you wonder why a lot of the conversations are you're failing. Like, literally, I may have 10 conversations today. If I use the script on every last one of them, I probably maybe get one. Versus if I have a conversation, all 10 conversations, 10 perspectives, I guarantee I could probably get 6 to 7 across the finish line. And that's the way my confidence, and I know my team can execute. It's just a matter of, long story short, just have a conversation, guys. Be yourself, have a conversation. That is it.
Well, Chris, what if you don't know the answers? How can you confidently go into a question and do a conversation with somebody and you don't have the answers?
You don't need to know.
How do you not go off a script and go in there with confidence and you don't know shit? How do you do that?
More so, who not how. If you guys haven't read that book, that's an amazing book. If I'm having a conversation with a seller and they ask me something specific I don't know, no worries. I'm gonna let them know. I'm very transparent on the phone. Unfortunately, I don't have that answer for you right now, but somebody on my team can actually get back to you in regards to that specific question. It's okay to say no. It's okay. Like, it's plenty of times if you don't know the answer, it's okay. It's totally okay. I don't panic like, oh shit, you caught me off guard. Like, no, like I don't know the answer. And it's totally okay. It is totally okay.
Yeah. And it's completely the best thing to do is always be transparent. Mr. and Mrs. Client, great question. I'm going to have someone from our team. I personally don't know the answer, but I'm committed to getting you the answer. And you just let it roll off your back. Bottom line is, the more human you look, the better the whole situation is going to be. That's number one.
Absolutely.
Number two is
Absolutely.
always look at it as you're talking to a friend, or at least if you need it, a future friend. If you're all into scripts, you do you. But what I promise you is, if you can get through a conversation and go through the script, I'll buy you lunch, whoever you are. Just record the call.
I love that. Oh my
Show me
gosh.
the proof.
You heard it here first, folks.
I will buy you lunch. If you can make that happen, because the probability of you making that happen are not very good. Because to Chris's point, we had a call. First thing, the guy's like, what's your price? Give me your price right now. You're like, okay, you're done. You're toast, right? If you don't know how to respond to that, you're toast.
Absolutely. I think the Facebook user was trying to say, if I want to wholesale, what is the standard information should get from the agent? think that's what they're trying to say. Facebook user, please give Facebook StreamYard to actually use your real name, please. How would you answer that question, Mario? What's
If I
the
want a wholesaler, what's the standard info agent seller when I make a call? If I want a wholesaler,
I think
I'm
it's
not
supposed to
trying
say
Let's say
if I
if I
am a
want-
wholesaler.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the classic answer is it's best to be honest and transparent. And I'm going to give you a way to say it that is honest and transparent. If you're pressed, though, just elaborate a little more. Okay, but the line should go like this. What you
Grab a
don't
pen
want
and
to
paper
say
real
is,
quick, guys. Grab a pen and paper and write this down. Okay, keep
Yeah.
it with you because Mario's going to give you the line.
yeah, what I wouldn't say is that you're not a wholesaler, because the minute that you're dealing with an on-market property and you have to mark that the contract's assignable, if you say you're not a wholesaler, they're going to make it non-assignable, and then you got a real problem, because now you're going to mess up your credibility, you're going to look like a liar, etc. So what you say is, you say, I am an investor. Okay, I am an investor. And we exercise, or we use, multiple exit strategies
Absolutely.
based on our due diligence, meaning based on what comes out of the inspection, and that's where you're tying it to. So if they ask you, well, what does that mean based on your due diligence? Well, I have a 10-day inspection. Based on what comes out of that inspection, we decide what we're going to do with the property. Sometimes we will buy and hold it. Sometimes, depending on the condition of the property, we'll fix and flip it. Other times, we will JV it with a member of our network, or we will share it. The word I like to use, I don't even use JV, because JV implies, well, what does that mean? We will share it with someone in our network.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then once you say that, you're covered. Will you wholesale? Well, yeah. And the due diligence, we realize it's outside of our wheelhouse. It's a little too messed up, and we really don't want it. So we're going to share it with someone in our network, which is what I shared with you right at the beginning when we were talking. So no matter what situation they give you, you're an investor first and foremost. You use multiple exit strategies. One of them is you either buy and hold it, you'll fix and flip it, or you'll share it with someone in your network that it fits better to their needs, if you want to elaborate on that. And that's it. That's basically the response.
Yeah, that's usually my go-to as well. Depending on the exit strategy, we're not for sure which entity we're going to close in, whatever that conversation may look like. But
Exactly.
that's my go-to. 100%. That's my go-to.
So now,
Luke said the same thing as well. I'm an investor, and we usually use multiple exit strategies. I love this. Luke,
Yep.
Thanks for taking action, man. Just throwing that out there. Thanks for taking action. You're doing amazing.
Dude, thanks for being here, by the way. I thought he texted me and said he was like traveling, I think today.
Yeah, please don't get in an accident if you are traveling watching this. This is a good question, actually. Mario, in this situation with an angry, demanding price homeowner, what are some other responses to diffuse the
yeah, so you always want to incarnate with the person. Like, you want to get in there with them. And that's always, and if they tell you, well, what's your price? You're like, absolutely. I want to get your price. We're going to give you a price. Is it okay if I find out a little more information about the property so that I can give you a price commensurate with the condition that it's in? And that's it. Because isn't it true, right? Because the next part, and this is a perfect segue, once we get to this point in the conversation, we're trying to extract motivation, pain. Here's the challenge. The conversation is going to go in all sorts of different directions. So you tried a couple of things based on what they said, and you couldn't get motivation. Then at that point, and only at that point, do I go to the conversation on the 4 pillars. Now, Brent Daniels has probably forgotten more real estate than I'll ever know. He focuses on condition, price, then timeline, then motivation. I don't do it that way. And again, I love Brent, and I have the highest respect for him. I believe it's motivation, timeline, condition, and price is last. And the condition is going to justify the price. That's why I put the price last. And the motivation is critical because, again, if you don't have motivation, you don't have a deal. Don't believe me? Just test me. And if you can close a deal with no motivation, I'll buy you lunch again. So you get 2 lunch.
Hope you guys are
Right?
taking that down, man.
Yeah, one thing with that question that was just up there. One thing Jesse and I train not train, but coach our acquisition team. We let them know to set the expectation, exactly why they're calling. Like we literally tell them all the time to set the expectation that they're not the ones that actually would give the price. My financial partner, whatever that conversation may look like, but they literally set the expectation so they don't continue to demand that specific question. And it's rare now within our company that's actually, Jesse, I just thought about it. I don't remember the last time that was even brought up as far as a price, like demanding the price that they really want. It's been a long time since that happened on our team. And if they're demanding a price and they're very abrupt, whatever that conversation may look like, they're not really motivated. Yep. They're probably just wasting time, tire kickers, whatever that may look like. But they're probably receiving a lot of different offers, right? I mean, calls from a lot of wholesalers, probably burn. It's so many different situations that you can actually look at. But just when they're given that high demand, just set up the expectation that you're not going to receive that price that you're looking for on this specific call. Because I guarantee you, if I get on a call, even when I'm about to close it, they'll never get a price from me. It could be my first call, my 10th call. I guarantee you they never get a price from me first.
I was just going to say exactly to that point, Chris, that whoever says the price first loses. That's a writer downer. If you say the price first, you lost.
Yeah.
Can't do that. Impossible. Pace teaches that emphatically, and it is absolutely a foundational principle. You never say price, ever, ever, ever. If it's a creative deal, they're the bank. You don't go to the bank and you dictate to them what the interest rate is and what the price is. And what you can say is, at that price, I'm not your buyer. I'm not a buyer at that price. That you can say. And then let them, based on the rapport, now you're and the way that we're going to set this up, you'll see how we negotiate. But one of the things is you never want to say price. And there was something else that you said that was going to trigger something, but hopefully it'll come back. But in the conversation, remember, we're motivation, motivation, motivation. And then we go through the 4 pillars. You use condition of the home as a way to get motivation. Okay. So it's condition, timeline. Then the other 2, which is, oh my goodness, condition, timeline, and
motivation and price.
Motivation and price. But motivation, the reason it threw me off is, remember that your number one thing is motivation. So the only time that you're gonna then come back in with condition and then eventually work your way down is you first start with your own, in the conversation, motivation and timeline. And that's what kind of threw me off, that if you wind up, because of the way that the conversation's flowing, you didn't get the motivation and the timeline, then you come up with the condition as a way to get motivation and timeline. You see what I'm saying? Because this buys you time in the conversation. Say you went in and you're trying to extract whatever the motivation is, and you're like, well, this as they're talking, you're like, wow, this seems like a pretty nice house. What is you selling? And they won't give you anything. And then at that point, you can try to figure out, well, really? So when was the last time that the roof in the house was changed? And you try to use the condition of the property to try to go back as a way to get motivation. Because ultimately, if you can't extract motivation from that conversation, how are you going to have a deal, and how are you going to give them an underwritten proposal if you have no idea what their motivation is? Yeah, you could do it based on the condition of the house and a timeline. But if there's no motivation there, how are you going to convert that into a real deal?
Absolutely.
You really are. So as you flow through these things, remember, your primary thing is if you want a job description, you are a problem solver. That's what you are. And you're looking for problems. And as you look for problems, you try to figure out what their motivation is and what their timeline is. In the absence of those 2, because you want to keep the conversation going, then you resort to what's the condition of the property to kind of give you that. And then you can start to get into price a little bit, remembering that you never introduced the price.
Yep.
Now, here's where the Chris Voss techniques come in. How do you get them to elaborate and continue talking? Because the last thing you want to do is inject yourself and start talking about a whole bunch of stuff. So I want you to write these down, and you get them in the handout, but this is kind of the way it rolls. The huge thing that Chris teaches are, one, accusation audits. Those things are incredible, and we'll go through it. Labels, labels and labels and labels. And labels include labels and mislabels, because mislabels, remember, give you the black swan in the conversation. And the black swans are the things you need to close the deal. Mirroring, and it's not mirroring. You automatically, when you talk to someone, so you could tell I'm a type A, I talk fast. However, when I'm talking to a client and they're really like from the South and they talk kind of slow, then we need to slow the tempo down. And the reason I'm talking fast, especially on this call, is I don't want to keep you here all day, and I want to try to give you as much as possible. So we're going to talk fast. But the minute I see that I'm talking, or I hear that I'm talking to someone that's slower, and it takes them a lot longer to kind of get their thoughts expressed, then you need to try to match that. So that's that level of mirroring. The mirroring I'm talking about is not that mirroring. This is the Chris Voss mirror, which is whatever someone says last, whatever says last. You see, so you repeat the last 2 or 3 words that person said to you, and it automatically prompts them to elaborate on it. So rather than you say, "Can you tell me more about that?" You don't do that. You just
So if somebody says, "Mario, I want 150,000 for my property."
150,000? And you're like, and that's a tough one, because that's an absolute one. But whatever it is, you'd say 150,000, and you could say it with a I want to give you 150,000 on the for.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It'll prompt you.
Absolutely.
See?
It's in that inflection in your voice.
I think we need to
that.
pinpoint exactly what Mario just did. Tonality and mirroring.
Huge.
He repeated back what he stated, and also has some sincerity with it as well. A lot of people, I think that was phenomenal what you just did. Like, just let them know, like, okay, did they state something that was incorrect or whatever that may look like? But at the same time, it was more caring. $150,000 is like, the way you just worded it and framed it was perfect. And a lot of people need to understand that tonality goes along with the mirroring. You can't
100%.
mirror. You can't mirror and have if they're talking at a low tonality, you can't have a high trajectory voice. You can't do that. But a lot of people, I think that was phenomenal, Mario. Thanks for actually sharing that, because that's something that myself and actually our team is working on as well. Because like mirroring plays, that can actually go further than what you're really trying to accomplish in a conversation. Because a lot of people, that builds the rapport, not just that builds, especially if they're older. A lot of older people don't remember a lot of things, right? Let's just face the facts. But if you're mirroring the conversation, slowing the conversation down to them, they will remember your name. And they remember who they spoke to, versus a fast talker trying to get it over them and trying to just get the deal. So phenomenal. I love that, Mario. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had to state that.
Dude, that was genius, man. That's that fine line that we're talking about, guys. Between everybody else who practices a conversation until they get it right, and those little things that we're talking about that Mario was throwing out here, that's how you get above that line.
Absolutely. So I know we only got a couple more minutes, and Mario got a couple more things you want to go over.
I'm going to fly. Yeah, so, I'm going to try to fly through a whole bunch of stuff. But the key there is, remember we said earlier, you want to come off as curious. You want to come off as you're learning. You're asking for help. So upward tonality is always going to be like you're curious. You're asking for help. And it's much more powerful than if you come full frontal on them and it's a very aggressive tone. They're going to be like, wait, what? Remember, you want to keep the person's autonomy. You want them to feel like they're in control the whole time. And you want to be very cognizant of how your words are landing. So a couple of quick ones, because we've already covered the major topics, and obviously we could get into this more, but we're running out of time. But here's the bottom line. There's nothing. So labels are huge. And what are labels? Seems like, looks like, sounds like, feels like. So if you get anyone says anything, and whatever it is, rather than you say, "Let me see if I got this straight," you can use sounds like this house means a lot to you, and you really have put a lot of yourself in it, and then you just let it sit there. And whenever you're asking questions, please, please, please don't volunteer answers.
Yes.
Just answer your open-ended question and shut up. Just
That
be
is it.
quiet. So it seems like this house. Oh no, you're going to a different place. So it sounds like you're going to Illinois. Will you be going on to this part of town or that? No. So it sounds like you're going to Illinois. Just let them talk, because they're going to say, and then whatever they say seems like, sounds like, looks like, whatever it is. And now you got them talking. So mirror allows them to keep talking and elaborate. Labels allow them to keep talking and elaborate. And mislabels will give you power like you don't even understand. If I asked you, Jesse, I said, hey, how much money do you make a year? You're going to be like, Mario, with all due respect, I like you, but it's none of your blessed business. But if I say to Jesse, man, Chris was telling me you guys close in 12 different markets. You guys are negotiating 10 deals. You got to be making like $500,000. And Jesse comes to me. He's like, what are you talking about, man? We're only making like 250. I'm gonna get to 500, but we're only making 250 now. And in a couple of months, I'll be making $1 million. You see what just happened there? When you mislabel, he bypasses filter, because we have this innate thing in us as humans that we want to show everyone that no, hold on. Let me correct you. And when you try to correct someone, you bypass through any filters that you preset to any question that comes in. So one of the things you want to master is the ability to mislabel, and sometimes you grossly mislabel. And what you'll find is that they'll bypass their filters and give you the information they want. And then the granddaddy of them all, and we'll end with this, is the accusations audit. The accusations audit is powerful, because basically, remember the concept of when you avoid something, you plant it. And when you think you planted it, you diffuse it. And what I encourage you to do is pre-plant any and every elephant, any objection. When you put it on the table, it literally comes off the table, and they can't use it against you because you've introduced it to the conversation. So one of the things, when you're talking to a seller and you know that every wholesale person's called them and lowballed them, and you know you're going to come in with either a lowball cash offer or a creative deal, what you pre-position is the following. You can say, Jesse, I know that you've been bombarded with a gazillion low cash offers, and these people have no appreciation to all the hard work you've put into this house. I mean, after all, this is your little kingdom, and they think that they can just come in here, steal the house from you, and get you to just gift it to them. You see, when you do that, and if you don't lay it on thick enough, you haven't done it enough. We're short on time, but I would think of, I would sit there and think, okay, what are all the things that Jesse's probably thinking in his mind? And then I pre-position all of them, and then I throw it in the accusations audit. The key is, after you do it, don't step on it. Just shut up. Let them respond. What you want is, when you know you've done it right, you're going to get a that's right.
Yep.
You want to build rapport? There's no more powerful way to build rapport than when you've pre-positioned every objection in their head, and they say to you, that's right. What they're telling you is, you get me. You understand my situation. Holy smokes. No one that I've talked to is as dialed in to where I am as you are. Let's go. Let's work together, because now you've proven to them that you understand them. And remember Covey's, right? Seek first to be to understand and to be understood. You want to understand their plight, as opposed to you thinking you're going to be understood. You see what I'm saying? You're focused on the other person. So when you do an accusations audit, it doesn't get more powerful than that. Now, you're not looking for a you're right. You're right means shut up, leave me alone, go away. You're looking for a that's right, a TR. All right. So with that, we're lined, because this has been quite the
Well,
time.
no, Mario, we truly appreciate you, man. More than you know. We're very humbled to have you on here today. We very gratefully to thank you for dropping a lot of gems today. It was phenomenal. And thanks, Ellie, for summing it up right there. That's phenomenal. A lot of people don't understand that. They really don't. They just hop on the phone, hoping for the world, right? Reading off a script. But it comes more to just reading off the script. Geared back to conversations. And as far as what you said earlier, I'm probably going to make something out of it in regards. So let me find it. I have it right here, stored it. Never take advice from someone who you would never trade places with. That's phenomenal. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's Chris Voss, man. That guy is pretty amazing. Chris
That's
Voss is
brilliant.
amazing. No, but praise God, man. It's an opportunity. I love the opportunity to be with you guys. I care about you guys deeply. So I'm humbled to be around you guys. And so this was a great opportunity. But I thank you guys.
Oh, Mario, thank you, dude. The pleasure is all ours, man. We're truly humbled and blessed and grateful for taking some of your time today and come in here and drop some of these gems, man. I know me personally, I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna re-listen to this recording several times just so I can be very meticulous and intentional, because you dropped so many good stuff in here, man. And it's always just an opportunity at no matter what level you are to get in on these types of conversations and hear it in a different context and a different time. It may impact you, or something may stand out a little bit differently that you didn't take in before, man. So truly, I really appreciate it. I hope you guys got a lot of value from this. Listen, if you guys are watching this, give Mario some love in the comments first of all, because this was absolutely phenomenal. He's doing his meetings Monday through Friday. Now he's switching up the times next week. Real quick, will you go over what those times are again? I know you're doing a kind of a time change.
Absolutely. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it'll be 12 noon Eastern. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, we'll go to 8 a.m. to 9. We'll stay there.
Perfect. And the reason you're going to noon is why?
Because we're going to do live calls. So the first maybe 15, 20 minutes we'll practice. But then
live calls.
Anyone that comes with calls, we'll actually make live calls and give them live feedback. So see, what we're trying to do is, typically when you go on these accountability calls and it's a practice call, everybody's high-fiving because you kind of had the courage to do it. It's almost like congratulating someone for breathing. And listen, I'm all for I'm all for encouraging, right? Because listen, that phone, it takes guts to get on. Believe me, 100%. I was scared to death myself. So it takes guts. So you should get credit for that. But let's also give you actionable feedback that you can actually get better. And rather than it taking you 20 calls of everybody saying, you crushed it, you killed it, right? Why not make it 3 or 4 calls that, yeah, we congratulated you, a good job. Here's what you did good. You did this good. How about this? Here was an opportunity. You kind of let go. Here was another opportunity that we could have expanded. So at least you give them actionable feedback.
Absolutely.
100%. Guys, if you guys got value from this today, screenshot this. Go share this with somebody. Go share this in the creative group. Go share this on your Facebook page. Go share this with somebody. And not only don't share it with it, but share something you guys learned. Because Mario dropped countless freaking gems today. I hope everybody had notes. I'm so glad that we have this recorded so everybody can go back and re-listen to it and take notes again. Like I said, I'm certainly going to. But go in here and share this with somebody. That's your guys' fee. Okay, for being in here.
Yeah, and please tag Pace. Somebody tag Pace so that he can get.
You're fine. Definitely tag Pace. We see the thing is we want to get Pace on here. Would you guys like to get Pace on here and have like a 10 to 15 minute conversation? And we only can imagine what Pace is going to say, right? And what he possibly, the gems he's going to drop. But 100%.
Yep. 2 quick links, because I promised them I want to be consistent, and I can't type in the chat for whatever reason. But it's sub2.co. So subto.co/ never split the difference. So NSTD. So never split. So the initials are never split the difference. That's going to give you the PDF for the Chris Voss's Black Swan group. And
Mark,
then,
can you send me the text so I can put in the link?
I'm going to send it to you via text. And then the other one, the other link for Sandler is sub2.co /SPS for Sandler Pain System. But let me send them to you via text, Chris, so you have both. And they're both. I'll say it again here. So sub2.co, and then not com.co, and then / never split the different NSTD. That's the first one. And then the second one is going to be https:/sub2.co/ what was the other one? Oh, the Sandler Paint System, SPS, Sandler Paint System. So that should be, and that is a nice little handout on.
Chris, can you put those in the, because it's only posting to YouTube, can you put those in a banner on the bottom?
Yeah, let me see if I can. Let me test both of them really quick, because I did earlier, but I just want to share. Sandler Paint System is that one. Yep. So that's exactly what I want. And what's nice is the Sandler, the pain step or the pain questions, it gives you literal questions that you can ask. It tells you the words you should listen to. It gives you the 4 buying motives. It summarizes and validates, and then it gives you all of the Sandler rules on the bottom. And then it gives you a nice acronym called DECAF, which stands for details, the elapsed time, the cost, the actions, and the feelings. So it's a priceless little handout to have. Like I don't have it. I should have it here, but I kind of have it in my head. But it'll be great as you're starting out to have it all over the place. And then the Voss PDF is freaking off the chain. Like I love Voss to death, and it blows me away that he gives this for free, because basically it's all of it, all of the Black Swan system. He gives it to you on PDF, and very detailed, very explanatory, and very actionable. So really good stuff.
I love it, brother. Well, thank you again for sharing. Hopefully you guys got a ton of value from there. Get in there, download those those PDFs, and take that. Be intentional with it. Take action on it. Make sure you guys come to Mario Zooms throughout the week. Ask your guys questions. There's no reason for you guys not to be gaining traction and momentum throughout that week because you don't know an answer to a question. You have an entire community and amazing leaders like Mario that are willing to get in here and help you guys and have these one-on-one conversations with you guys. So please be intentional with that. If you guys are watching this on Facebook, you guys can catch this this episode on our YouTube channels as well. If you guys go find Chris and I on our YouTube channel, then Mario's going to be building his social media and doing more on that as well. So please go follow him and make sure you guys subscribe and see what he's doing, because all this content, all these gems and everything, Mario is dropping that on the freaking daily. Brother, I appreciate you. I love
Appreciate
you.
You guys, man.
Thank you
love
so
you
much
guys.
for the
you
opportunity.
Appreciate it.
You guys have an awesome day.